kill
Dude,
you.
I know I was a cutie pie as a kid, but I'm a chatty Cathy. So you touch my dick, everybody's finding out.
Yeah. Well, that's what I did.
The moment I leave that room, I'm going, guess what
Yeah, but
just
that's
happened?
yeah, that's what I did.
Even if Michael Jackson's like, dude, pinky swear, because my career will be over if you tell everyone about this. I'm like, dude, no problem. As soon as I get out, I'd go to my brother, like, guess what happened?
Yeah.
Jackson just sucked me off, dude.
Well,
I'd call my friend, bro, you'll never believe what just happened.
You know what happened to me, right? In camp, I get fondled
One of my
by our
favorite stories.
camp counselor.
I know
And
it's
I'm like-
dark. It's one of my favorite stories.
And then I talked to my other buddy.
Hold on. Set this up for the people who missed this story.
Well,
You've told on JRE.
Yeah.
You
There
got
was
molested. How old?
There were 2 incidents, but
I don't mean to make light of this.
No, there were
but
2
it's the only
incidents.
thing you can do.
Well, for me-
because look, he's turned out great.
yeah. And by the way, I always
Kinda
say
fucked
there's,
up in the
there's
head,
a
but he's
difference between. But see, there's a difference between being in a position where you have to do it all the time because they manipulate your brain, then where they rape you.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between that and being fondled. But
And there's also a difference between being into it.
well,
not
that's
saying you
true.
were.
That's true. So I wake up and the guy's fiddling with my willy, and I'm like, "Fuck is
Hold
going
on,
on?"
you're at boys camp?
So we would be in
Paint
camp.
the scene, bro.
So at camp, you
Summer
would go
camp.
away on canoe trips.
Summer camp.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're in summer camp. You go away on canoe trips, and there's one camp counselor.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember
How old?
we were skinny dipping, and
geez.
he reached under my friend. We were probably like 11, 12.
Okay.
You know,
Older than I thought.
old enough.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Still.
And he reached under. The guy reached under my buddy's dong and said, "There's a bone right there." And my buddy was standing naked. We were wet from the lake.
Sure.
And I remember he reached under and pointed to his taint.
And
he
pushed
goes,
on it?
There's a bone right there. He was telling the story. And all I remember going, that guy reached with a hook and just under. So your dick and balls here, and he reached.
Yeah.
And he reached like here's his dong, and he reached in and went
Sure.
like that. It goes right there, and I went, "That's weird."
Like a road
First red
runner.
flag. Weird.
But no one said anything.
No, but I remember talking. I remember we were like,
How old's
me and
this
my buddy
guy?
John and
20?
and Donnie. What?
How old's the guy touching the kids?
Oh,
18?
he was probably I think if I look back on it, he's probably 35.
Okay.
You know, I don't
Keep
remember.
going.
He had a beard.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, the big difference. Not a mean, manipulative guy.
Friendly.
He was a
He's your
very
friend.
sweet man
Yeah.
who couldn't catch a ball. I remember I threw a ball at his face, and he went like this.
Went-
Like he was a very he was a loving. He just loved little boys.
Sure.
Right?
Keep going.
Like the unassuming soft pedophile, as it were, right? Pudgy and all that.
Sure.
And I'm not making light of this when I tell this story
No,
because I know
but you
people have
have
suffered
to.
real fucking
Yeah, but you
abuse,
have
and I
to.
did this. I don't consider
Yeah, I
this.
know. I hear you.
But for me, what happened was, I had friends I was talking to, and all my friends started going, "This is a weird thing." By the way, I didn't say this on GRE, but my other buddy, God, I think back on this. My other buddy
you
said,
get some
"Oh,
shit.
I already got molested by this other dude."
Same camp.
Who was an ex-military guy in our camp, and he was still there. But we didn't back then. What is this? The 70s?
Yeah.
I didn't think about. We didn't tell
people did.
anybody. And I was like, he did, but that guy never did anything to me. So I always was skeptical about that. I was like, did he? I don't know about that. But then again, he's a camp counselor. He's with boys all the time. That's what he does,
Red flag.
right? So there was always this weird shit. So I wake up and he's got his hand. We all sleep together, like in
big tent.
tents, you know.
Sure.
But it was like I don't know, maybe 3 to a tent or something. I don't remember. But I remember waking up and that guy had his hand down my pants.
What time?
I was
in
wearing
the morning?
white tighty
What
whities.
time in the morning is this?
Who knows? 7 a.m.
Sure.
And I'm feeling it. And I remember waking up going. It just seemed like it was.
No, hold on. Hand in under the undies
Yes,
or on
sir.
top?
Yes, no.
Damn, under.
Yeah. But I swear to
Full
God, dude,
fist
I
of
swear to
cock.
God, it's funny when you're a kid. It doesn't register. Like I didn't
don't
register
know.
that it was weird. Like then I did. Then I was like, because I did that. I used to do that. You know what I mean? When you wake up and you got
your
to
own
pee
dick.
or you're playing with
Do
your
it
little
all the
willy.
time.
Yeah, of
Do
course.
it during the show.
So it felt like that, and I was like, this is weird. So I go to my buddy and I go to my buddy Donnie. I go, hey, he touched my dick this morning. He was playing with it, and then I think I pretended I had to go to the bathroom or something, which I did. I probably had to pee. And he goes, he sucked my dick.
Oh God.
Right. So I go, and then now because I'm slow, but you're a boy. I put it all together.
Why'd he suck?
And then
his
I
dick?
said to my other buddy, yeah, he tried to put his finger there, whatever. And I go, I went, all right, cool. Marched. I remember. I was like, this doesn't make sense. And then I'm thinking about it.
You're a snitch.
I take my name off the next trip, the next camping trip. You used to sign up.
Probably sit out of the next trip.
And sit out on the next trip.
Probably
And he
fall
came up to me,
back.
he goes, I saw you scratch your name off. What happened? I go,
Doug, what happened
yeah.
is you fucking
But
touched my dick.
then my friend, I said, I think I want to tell on him. And my friend Donnie goes, I feel like I'm protecting his. He goes, don't do it. Don't say anything. Don't say anything, man. Come on. And he was like, don't. And this is what happens. This is what happens. You don't want, as a
Shaming.
kid, you don't want to make a thing about it because you don't understand it. You don't have context for it. But I was like,
You're
fuck
embarrassed,
that.
too.
My mother came.
Oh, yeah.
For Parent Day or whatever.
Callen
I
coming in
marched
hot.
right to my mother. I go, hey, guess what? That guy did this, that, and the other thing. He also did this. They brought all of us in. All of us told. I never forget the owner of the camp said, "Now I'm going to ask you some questions. I don't want you to get emotional about it. Did he put his mouth here?" And he asked me all kinds of questions. I said, "No, but he did it to Donnie." And they brought Donnie in, and Donnie was like, "Fucking," he was sensitive. I wasn't.
did Donnie
Here's the other
squeal?
thing, dude. I wasn't.
You're a
I'm,
sociopath.
I'm not a sensitive guy.
you're dead behind the
Yeah,
knife.
you know I am. I'm not sensitive. I don't know why. I'm just not. That my other friend was. And
So
I didn't.
Donnie was crying.
Yeah, and I wasn't. And again, maybe I would have been, but I wasn't raped. And there's a difference. Like some kids, you can't come back from that, especially when
Never.
it's a priest or somebody that is a pillar of the community.
What
and
they
you
do
don't,
to that
you don't
guy,
know where
though,
to
dude?
turn.
What'd they do to the camp counselor?
This was the 70s, Bubba.
Nothing.
You know what they told? He was married.
promoted him.
He was married. You know what his wife said? Because my mother said this to me. His wife said, "Oh God, he's up to that again."
Oh, my God.
And she was the arts and crafts teacher.
his name
This was the
Sandusky?
70s. This is why this Me Too thing is a good thing, because it's raising awareness for people who really have been traumatized and abused. And so what happened was he goes, and then he just was moved on. Back then, there's no database. There's no he was just moved on. I don't know what happened.
That's so crazy.
And again, I have to say this. Because you didn't read about this stuff as a boy, as a mother, you didn't think it was that big a deal because it was just a creepy guy.
I
you
guess
know what I'm
I just
saying?
come from a different time.
But you know what I mean? You do, because back then,
What did your
you
dad
didn't know
say?
about kids getting abducted.
What
You
did
didn't
your
hear
dad
about
say?
that stuff.
What did your dad say? Because if I would have came home from school and went, Dad, my teacher,
father was overseas.
My teacher, Mr. Blake, touched
Yeah.
my dick. My dad went, what's his name?
Yeah.
And would have marched
My
right
father
up
was
there.
overseas, and I bet, and you're asking me for the first time, I just never think about this. I bet you my mother never told him, and I bet you he still doesn't know.
He knows now.
Yeah. I bet you my mom never told him. But because that would serve no good. But back then, by the way, can you imagine the lawsuit now? That was never even brought up back then.
No one sued back then. Now we're all sue happy.
No, you didn't sue. You didn't know about child abduction. You didn't know about perversion. None of this stuff was talked about. I'm old enough to remember this. None of this stuff was, and it was what he was considered to be was the same as a peeping Tom or a flasher, or that's kind of everybody. All those weirdos were put into context.
Lumped in together.
My sister came home and this guy asked her to touch his dick and said it's a red balloon, and I remember we had to talk about it in the family. This was in Greece back in '76 or something. So again, these were things that you didn't hear about, the stories of child abduction, child rape.
Balloon?
You heard about a creep who jerked off in a car.
You never had any problems, Chin? No close calls?
I don't think so. But
So-
you don't remember stuff like that,
But so
right?
Jonathan Haidt, the
those I do.
social psychologist who was on Rogan, he said, back in the day, kids were allowed to walk to school. They were allowed to do everything on their own. They could go out and play and everything else. Then in the 80s, there were some high-profile child abductions, and the details came out, like John Wayne Gacy, about what he did, Ted Bundy, and all of a sudden we found out that there were very evil people out there who got off on killing, torturing, and raping women, children, and Jonathan Haidt does a really good job of showing this. When kids started showing up on milk cartons, you had a generation of helicopter parents.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, parents like you,
I'm guilty.
like me, we don't let our kids go to the store. We don't let our kids walk home. We don't let our kids ever be alone and unsupervised. And what it's done is it's created a lot of anxiety in children, a lack of independence. It's created kids who always have somebody watching over them, so they don't settle things on their own. What they do is they go to the authority figure, and it's caused a lot of damage. And
Them little dudes
overall,
living, though.
How many kids are abducted by strangers a year?
Couldn't tell
me a
you.
number.
I have no idea.
100. Very, very few. It's very
good
fucking
thing.
rare. Goddamn right, it's a good thing.
I'd rather have a helicopter.
It's always been
pant than
very
a loosey-goosey
It's always
pant,
been
though.
very rare, but you pay a price too for having a helicopter.
Either way,
parent.
though. Either
Well,
way.
listen.
Either way.
Listen, it's our worst nightmare. It's every parent's worst nightmare. When you see my back ripple and I pull myself up like a chimp 30 times bang, while talking to you, why wouldn't I give that to you as
It's a
inspiration?
gift. It's a gift, really.
It's a gift.